Yes, guys. Yes, people. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Carefree Reacts. It is good to be back. Hit the likes, subscribe, all of that. We're here to talk about an interview that's been going viral over the last 24 hours. Obviously, we all know about the Blue Coat Out protest that's going to be going on before the Southampton game on Tuesday. And you guys know my thoughts on it as well. I'm fine with doing Blue Co out, Clear Lake out to put them in the spotlight in the hope that it facilitates some change. If it helps push the sporting directors out, great. If it helps change the model, great. But ultimately, they're happy with the sporting directors. We all got the briefing from yesterday. So it has to be Clear Lake that gets thrown into the spotlight because the model is a problem. The lack of importance when it comes to winning on and off the field is a problem. The waste of money on unproven potential has been a problem, especially with this season because we failed to build on the Chelsea squad that should have got fourth and should have got the Carabao Cup last season. And it's part of the reason why things are starting to stagnate now. This is why, I don't really have a problem with the protest, and I actually am really happy to see it because it is because of everything that's been going on the pitch. On the pitch, we haven't been as successful. We haven't been nearly as consistent over the last 3 years. And the last two windows haven't shown a desire to compete at the highest level. So that's why I'm with the protest. But there was a Chelsea fan called Stevie Proper Chelsea, who jumped onto Talksport to discuss with Simon Jordan. And I forgot the name of this brother, but respectfully, it was an absolute car crash. So we're here to react to it. We're here to react to it all, guys. Big up, everybody. Hit the like, subscribe, all of that crap. Up the Chelsea.
It's called those fans who are going to protest a bunch of ingrates with a sense of entitlement that they're not due. So why are some of these Chelsea fans protesting? This is an ownership. Bully and Bally came in, bought the club for £2.5 billion, and in the time there spent £1.2 billion in the transfer market.
That's just 1.2 billion, not 1.4. I need to remember that.
Steve is a big Chelsea fan. Steve, good afternoon. Are you going to be part of this protest?
Yeah, hi Jim, hi lads, great show as usual.
Thanks, Steve.
No problems, Danny and Simon there. The protest is on, guys. It's going to be massive. Can I just say, it's not about the playing results. This is two separate things. This is about the ownership and where they've taken us. They led us to this point.
It's not about the play. Okay, fair enough.
Us. They don't talk to the Chelsea fans. I'm a part of the CST. You had Don Ross on last week.
I'll be so real. It is definitely results based. We need to be honest about that because we look like we're on track to miss out on UCL for another year, the third year in a row. That is more years than Abramovich ever had us out of the top four. And it's unacceptable, especially when we were told last season that the plan was top four. That's why we sacked Pochettino. That's why we haven't got a front of shirt sponsor. That's why the Nike deal might be getting split in half if we don't get it again. That's why top four is so important. Not even just in general in terms of the payout that these owners would be getting just off being in the UCL too. So it is results-based. Let's be honest and call it what it is. That's why there's been so much uproar over this over the last couple of weeks. Because the results haven't been there. Let's be honest.
And I don't know what he told you privately, but I'll tell you everything you need to know because I want the facts and the truth to be out there.
Okay, so what do you want to tell us? What specifically are you unhappy about the ownership?
Many things, Jim. We could be on here all day over how this has got to this point. Well, you've got to remember, we didn't want this. They brought it to us.
What to you?
The mismanagement of the whole club. They've sold off parts of the properties. They've saddled the club 140.
They've sold off the properties to themselves. To be honest, I don't really know if that's the real problem, but fair enough.
£1 worth of debt. No one knows about that. It's on a 13% loan. Over the tenureship should work out about 1.7 billion, I think, or million. My friend did all the numbers on it in facts.
Yeah, but even then, this isn't even really the main problem. Our problem is off the pitch. It's not off the pitch. Sorry, we've sold off properties to ourselves for PSR. We can't pretend that they've reduced the size of our footprint around the bridge because of that, because these men have also bought off the Stoll mansions in the hope that they can use that to rebuild the bridge to around 60k or something around that mark. So again, it's based off everything that's going on the pitch because we're not successful. We're not as competitive. We're not prioritizing success with profit. We're prioritizing just the profit. And that's the problem, because realistically, we can have both. You can be successful and profitable. But I'll let this continue.
They basically put us into debt when Man United 2-0.
Well, you're not, are you, really? Because Man United was bought with Manchester United's money, and Chelsea were bought with a private equity set of money. So they might have loaded some debt on top of it. What your expectation is?
Simon, 140 million. They've only been there 2.5 years.
Big deal. You've got.
I'll be so real, though. I think a lot of the clubs in general are in debt. Like, we were very lucky to be debt-free just because we had Roman Abramovich. Like, this is why I always say he's the best owner that's ever been in football and maybe ever will be. Because this man was just doing it for straight passion. He would just throw money at problems left, right, and center. We were blessed. This is why everybody hates Abramovich. Because Abramovich was literally running Chelsea out of pure love and putting all of his money in spite of whatever losses he'd make out of it, just because he loved the club. So it's not that.
A football club is worth £2.5 billion. So let me get it right. Someone's paid £2.5 billion, and there's 140 million pounds of debt against an asset that's worth £2.5 billion, and you think that's inappropriate?
Well, it's not that it's not inappropriate. It's how it's been modelled, and the model isn't correct. It's quite clear. Look at the state Chelsea are in.
On the field?
No. Well, on both, Simon.
No. It is on the field. It is on the field. This is the problem. We're acting like the finances and everything else is fucked too. No. The problem is we're not prioritizing being successful in football. It looks like we're focusing on being a top 4 team and focusing on profit through the youth model. That's what the problem is. That's what the problem is. We're diverting now.
This isn't about on the field. That's just that's totally a separate entity. Of course,
it baffles us some point, though, Steve. Are you happy? Are you happy they bought Moises Caicedo?
Moises Caicedo is an excellent player, but this isn't.
Are you happy they bought Enzo Fernandez?
Yeah, of course.
Are you happy you bought Pedro Neto?
Somewhat.
You must be happy they bought Cole Palmer.
Yeah, of course.
So what are you moaning about?
It's not moaning. It's letting the world know, because this has been all kept out of media, sort of, if you will.
This is the problem, though. This is why we look silly talking about the finances. It was never, ever, ever about the finances. Oh, brother.
What's the word? A blackout. And this is the reason I've got on. They have loaded the club with debt. Their model is not working. They will not talk to the Chelsea fan guys. You've got to understand that. So a group of us have taken this and said, listen, what are we doing about this? And then
I do agree they could communicate with the fans a bit more. I do hear that.
They're trying to divide the ownership, the fan base.
Dividing the fans. Oh, come on, Stevie, man. Bro, you know what fan base this is, man. This is Chelsea Football Club. We are probably the most divisive fan base in England. I've said on here before, Chelsea fans' biggest rivals are Chelsea fans. We are so damn divisive, it's not even funny. Like, I remember we won the UCL and we still had Jorginho stands beefing Mount. Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi fans beefing when neither of them could get any game time. Mount and Havertz stands beefing each other when both of their guys were garbage. The Timo Werner hate. And this was after we won a UCL. Like, nah. They don't need to divide Chelsea fans. Chelsea fans can divide themselves.
With miscommunication and PR. I know all about this. I'm right amongst it. So if you ask me any questions, I can give you factual answers. Like that film, A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth. And unfortunately, people don't like the truth. It's a fact of life. We all know that.
But what is the truth? I'm trying to understand what your truth is.
Right, I'll tell you the truth, Simon. It's the fact that Chelsea could potentially go bust.
Bust? Sorry, guys in the chat, let me know. Was there ever really a worry about us going bust? My worry is that we're not trying to build Chelsea to be like a successful team that's competing for league titles. Not going bust. I don't think we're ever going to go bust. These men will be looking to build up Chelsea to a position where they could sell them at one point. There's no worry about us going bust. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't think we've ever looked like we're going bust.
But this business model they're running is not working.
Okay, well, that's supposition on your part, and I'm assuming.
Yeah, like, how do you run a model for youth profit and then talk about the club going bust? No, they're trying to make profit. How you try to make profit and then go bust?
I mean that you run many big businesses to be able to make that observation, but the fact of the matter
is, it's an observation of life, isn't it?
Because it's not, is it? It's a supposition. You've got no grounds. But you're saying that a football club. Let's just get it right. a football club that's loaded, it's loaded, right? I want to use your expressions.
Already,
140 million pounds of debt.
Already. Chelsea Football Club that was debt-free, Simon.
But it was debt-free. Hold on.
It was debt-free because of Roman. Oh, bro, he's digging a grave, man.
Hold on. It was debt-free because you had a Russian oligarch that decided to be a registered charity that ultimately put your football club in existential jeopardy. So what are you babbling about?
No, it's not babbling. At the end of the day, the guy was one of the best owners in world football.
That is facts, to be fair. We got so lucky with having an owner like Roman Abramovich. That's just it. The fact he didn't care about profit and endlessly threw money at any situation that we had, that was the difference. That was honestly the difference. Let's keep this going.
Well, he wasn't in the end, was he? But he wasn't in the end, was he?
No. Roman was an amazing owner. This is why I'm disagreeing with Simon.
That's a separate conversation,
Steve, it's a fair point that Simon's asking you, Steve.
Sure.
How did it end with Roman?
How it ended with Roman is it goes into government level. You know, you've got the contact there with Putin. You know, unfortunately, he happens to be Russian. Is that his sin? The guy is effectively British gas. He
happens to be Russian is a bit of a loose expression, but hey.
He's unsuccessful with that. And then, unfortunately for him, his paymaster or someone in the line happens to be Vladimir Putin. That idiot then wants to start a war with Ukraine. Now, not a lot of people know this. Abramovich went in there to try and smooth things over. Zelensky even said to the EU,
the outcome, the end product was the end product. We can all rewrite history. We can go back to how
rewriting it.
We can go back to how Roman Abramovich actually made his money and how the corruption in Russia allowed the denationalization of industries and people like him to make enormous amounts of money. That's why I call him a robber baron. But your football club, you get enormous amounts of money, and what you're now expecting, well, I think in the same way that you're making a supposition about the bloody football club's going to go bust, I'll make a supposition about the genesis of his funding, which has a degree of education attached to it, rather than a rambling drivel that you're coming out with, which is suggesting that 140 million quid is going to pull down a football club that's been bought for 2.5 million quid because you don't like the way the club are being run and the football team's performance on the field isn't to your liking.
Fucking hell. Yeah, this cooking is nasty. This is nasty. This is why we shouldn't have been talking about financials. You just dug yourself into a bad hole with this one. We talk about the unproven talent that we've been burning money on when we need experience. Talk about, I don't know, even Vivid Seats. You can talk about that. Talk about the model in general. Talk about them not talking to the fans. Talk about the lack of importance when it comes to winning and being successful on the pitch. Not the financials. It's not that. Oh, brother. Oh, mate.
And you think you've got the right to go into a stadium and protest and organise protests? And I think you guys...
No. They do have a right to protest. They do have a right to protest. That's why, again, I'm going to disagree with Simon. Fans always have a right to protest. It's just, man, gotta be specific about what you're protesting about. And this is a bit of a problem with the protests that we have coming up. There's a lot of people going in there for different purposes. There's people going because they just want Clear Lake out. There's people going because they don't like the expectations or the standards, or they don't like the drop in form that we've had recently. There's people who are Blue Co out. There's people who are just Clear Lake out. There's so many different variations that it's not really a united front. That's why I'm saying, like, fans have a right to protest. Just be specific about what we're protesting about. Not this, like, this is waffle. I'm sorry. This has just been waffle.
I need to pack it in.
Well, no, listen, Simon, because we're not doing it. It's a peaceful protest, right? It's to get our word out because we can't. No one will listen.
Word out to who?
To the world that Chelsea are being suffocated by billionaires and who are using football as a financial model.
So what do you think?
So
if it's a financial model, how are we going bust?
What do you think the Gulf states are doing when they own other football clubs? Do you think they're doing it out of registered charity, or they might be doing it from total motivation?
Not. Listen.
What do you think is everybody else's money is yours to spend how you want?
No one is begrudging a person who wants to make money. Of course.
You just said it.
Of course, there is an element of business. Let me finish. The supporters are the people that run the game, Simon. Is it in the spirit of the game?
Oh, he's digging a hole again. He's digging a hole again. Look, supporters are the heartbeat of a football club. Always. They always will be. But they don't run the club. They don't. You can't do the virtue signaling stuff on this. Otherwise, these managers are going to cook you even more. Like, we're lucky that we even own the name Chelsea FC or the land of Stamford Bridge. That's an anomaly. Most fan bases don't even have that. We are the voice. We are the heartbeat. We don't run the club. We don't run the club.
game.
No,
Well, this is
no,
what-
you need to
let
grow
me-
up and
that's a
pack
very
it
good
in.
point.
You
No,
need
no,
to
no.
grow up and pack it in.
Is it
Because in
in
the
the
real
spirit
world,
of
not the
the game?
sentimental drivel that
In
you
the
live in,
spirit of
the
the
supporters
game,
are the
fine.
lifeblood of the game. They are the
Exactly.
energy, but they do not run the game. Everyone
Yeah, of
accepts that
course.
as a grown-up in the room. Everyone values supporters.
course.
Everyone knows that supporters are the energy that provides the game. It's a unique
Yeah, and
perspective,
without
but they don't
supporters,
run
you
it,
don't
Steve.
have
So you need to
football.
pack it in.
Before you,
No.
Yeah, you see that that pissed him off. But yeah, you see, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have said that.
but Steve, before you leave it,
Sorry, yes, Jim.
I'll just put this to you: the protest, the point of it.
What's happened to the quality, by the way? It's just gone down.
Are you trying to force the owners out?
Two things that we would like, me personally as well as much of this group, we would ideally at this point, because they've locked us in with all this debt that some won't let me get across, we'd like them to change the model. At least listen. They will not listen.
There we go. There we go. Something a bit more relevant. Nice.
And and best case scenario, Blue Coat and Clear Lake out, Barley and Wiz and the Feliciano.
But Steve, I've got to ask you, mate, with all due respect,
yes, Jim.
do you think you know more about business than Bully and Bally?
No, of course not. They're businessmen, but
This isn't even about knowing business better. This is why I was saying we shouldn't be talking about the financial side like we're going bust like that. It's about a lack of faith in the direction of the club and an inability for us to compete and win honours or even take those honours seriously. It shouldn't have been about knowing business better. It shouldn't have been.
But it's not about that.
They're both multi-billionaires.
Yeah, Jim, listen to what you're saying. You're talking about business. This is football. Fundamentally, it's a football club.
But you're asking them to change their business model.
Yes, because they're basically using Chelsea. They're using the players as commodities, human traffic, basically. They're saddling young players.
Yeah, I get wanting to change that model because we are football fans and we want to win. We want to win. This is what Chelsea fans have been built on for the last 20 years. Win. Win first. Always first thing is winning trophies or prioritizing trying to win those trophies.
Selling them on. They've already done it.
I don't want to belittle you, Steve, but there is an argument that you as fans should just get behind Maresca's team.
But we have done some now.
There's a bit of both. Again, I agree with that sentiment. Get behind Maresca and get behind the team. In spite of our form, it's not like we're rotting in mid-table like Poch last season. We are actually competitive in terms of getting our target of top 4. But we have given up so much ground and the run that we've had over the last 2 months hasn't been good enough. But in spite of that, we haven't used the transfer windows to strengthen the team and consolidate that position, which is why I get people protesting, because it's our 3rd year potentially without being in the Champions League. That's not good enough. That's just not good enough. That used to be a bare minimum for us. So, look, I get stand behind Maresca and stand behind the team because we can still turn things around, but hold everyone above them accountable. And even then, hold Maresca and the team accountable on a game-by-game basis when they don't get the results too.
And that's two separate entities. We've got behind the team. The team is failing due to all the other things, the sporting director.
I mean, 2 months ago, Steve, were you one of those singing "We've got our Chelsea back"?
No, on the footballing side, I was. Yeah,
you were.
Oh yeah, that was such a bad look. And I'll say that for the fans as a whole, because I'll be real. Even though I weren't at the game, I jumped on the bandwagon a little bit. Probably emphasizes how bad the last 3 years have been that it took that run. But it felt like it. It really did feel like it. And this is another reason why I feel like we're all so frustrated. Because it's like, we are this close. We are this close. But then you've got the injuries to key players like Lavia and Fofana. And we haven't strengthened or even consolidated our depth in both of their positions and their profiles. Poor rotation that's led to fatigue. As well as a failure to adapt to said injuries as well. Drops in form from the likes of Jackson, likes of Noni, for example. Sanchez being a bum and being forced into the starting lineup. All of this has contributed, as well as the squad planning from that point. And it's been a car crash 2 months since then. But I won't lie, it does feel a bit of a bad look that we were doing the whole "we got our Chelsea back" 2 months ago. I can hold my hands up to that. Sorry. But I'll be so it was such good vibes 2 months ago. It was such amazing vibes. Come on, guys. Let's keep going.
8 weeks ago, we've got our Chelsea back.
That's a footballing element. So, Jim, this is about the ownership and what they're doing to Chelsea.
But this is the thing. It was about the football element for the positive. So now things are at a negative. We just stay on track and talk about the footballing side. This is the main point.
Basically,
this is the main
very
point.
cleverly.
When and where is the protest?
Around the stadium.
Where and when is the protest, Steve?
It's Bovril Gate on Tuesday, September against Southampton. We like all the Chelsea there because basically they need to hear us. They suffocate us already. You guys don't see it. I'm a Chelsea Supporter Trust member. Trust me, I'm not just saying this. Like I said, some people don't like the truth. And like I said, this
your
is
version
about...
of it.
No, everyone's version. I'm completely open to everybody's version.
Okay, Steve, listen, thank you so much for the call. Thank you, Steve. You weathered the storm.
I don't think he weathered the storm still, but boy, that was that was something. That was a lot of something. Sheesh. But yeah, this is what I was saying. Like, there needs to be a specific blueprint as to what this protest is about. Like, my thing is, it looks like we're prioritizing profit over success, and I think the last 2 transfer windows have been a great example of that. That's why, I've been so angry with Clear Lake and the sporting directors for this season. I've already spoken about the waste of money on unproven talent and the lack of experience or genuine improvements that we've made to the first team squad. I've spoken about the inability to prioritize success, the lowering of expectations, top 4 to top 6 from last season, and now we're flip-flopping between top 4 being a target and not being a target. We're changing the briefings every week. The poor squad planning and the model in general, all of that. This is what we should be protesting, in my opinion. But I feel like that's not my opinion as well. There's other people that are going to be protesting for other means. And this is where we start to divide ourselves as a fan base. So I guess someone has to stand up and lead the protest. At least when we did the Ricketts protest, it was led by Matisse. We knew what the blueprint was. We knew the bullet points. We knew what we were protesting against. I feel like we're gonna get to Tuesday and everyone's gonna have their own different motives. For me, I'm happy to join the Blue Co out, Clear Lake out thing solely because I want to put them in the spotlight and hope that it forces them to facilitate some change. Because we're getting briefings day in and day out and day in and day out, and they definitely can see that the pressure's on them. That's why they briefed Fabrizio 2 days ago that the target was always Champions League. You weren't telling Maresca that because he's been saying something different since August, and he's only going to speak on your vision. So I don't believe you. And all this waffle about, wait till the next window. You told us a 4-window plan. That is the 6th window. Don't believe you. But guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. It's been great to do another reaction. We'll be back tomorrow for the preview stream, so keep a lookout for that. Like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and up the Chelsea. Up the damn Chelsea.